this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Amazon Health AI presents Painful Thoughts.
I can't stop scratching my downtown. Yeah, but I'm not itching to go downtown and tell a receptionist I'm here to talk about my downtown. Some things you'd rather type than say out loud.
There's no question too embarrassing for Amazon Health AI. Chat your symptoms and get virtual care 24/7. Healthcare just got less painful.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt. From renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year, you can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
Do you want to find a stress-free way to buy your next car? Start at CarMax and shop your way. And if you want to browse with confidence, get pre-qualified online with no impact on your credit score and shop cars within your budget. From luxury cars to family rides, CarMax has options for almost every price range, including more than 25,000 cars priced under $25,000. So, hey, want to get started? Just head to CarMax.com for details and get pre-qualified today. Want to drive? CarMax.
All the assassination attempts seem to go in one direction.
He's in power.
Right? It's Charlie Kirk, it's Donald Trump 3 times, it's Steve Scalise.
He's
I'm
in
just
power.
saying.
He's
You notice
in
that
power.
every one of these people in the Trump administration needs a security deal. Staff. No other press secretary in history, except for those who served Donald Trump,
So,
needs a
Sean.
Secret Service detail.
You're listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson.
Good Tuesday morning. Nice to have you with us on the 47 Morning Update, and we've got one major story for you. You wonder why there's so much violence against Donald Trump and other conservatives. Well, you may just need to follow the money. We've now learned that teachers' unions have spent more than $1 billion in the last decade to influence what your kids believe. And now polling data shows that 1 in 4 Democrats believe that political violence is appropriate. We break all this down for you. Now, before we get to that, I want to take a moment and talk to you about a company that's standing up for what we truly believe in, and that's Patriot Mobile. And if you've never seen what Patriot Mobile can do for your cell phone bill, well, then you got to take a look at them. America is entering the 250th year, and the direction of this country is being decided right now in our culture and our economy. And who we choose to support matters more than ever. Most wireless companies don't care who you are or what you believe. They just want your money. Patriot Mobile, they're different. For more than 12 years, they've stood with Americans who believe freedom is worth defending, funding the Christian conservative movement when others stay silent. That's what they do. So here's the deal. You don't have to give up quality or service when you switch to Patriot Mobile. They deliver premium priority access on all 3 major U.S. networks. So you'll get the same or better coverage than you have today. Think switching is a hassle? It isn't anymore in 2026. You keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. And their 100% U.S.-based support team can activate you in minutes. Still paying off a device? Patriot Mobile even offers a contract buyout. This is a defining year. We must work together to save our country. So go to patriotmobile.com/Ben47 or call 972-PATRIOT. And if you use the promo code Ben47, you'll get a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Ben47 or 972-PATRIOT and switch today. It's the 47 Morning Update, and it starts right now.
Story number 1.
There have been 3 different assassination attempts on President Donald Trump, where bullets have been fired. We also know that there was another assassination attempt on the President of the United States of America by a man that decided to bring a shotgun as well as other weapons. That would be for a total of 4 different assassination attempts on President Trump that we know about. The question is, why is this happening? And could it be because the left has taken over the education system and is radicalizing people to hate conservatives, to hate Christians, and to hate Donald Trump? Well, a watchdog group has now released a pair of reports exposing how America's teachers union, yes, the teachers unions that control our public education across the U.S., have funneled now more than $1 billion into left-wing political causes over the last decade. So let me start with a question that every American should be asking. What happens when the institutions that we're supposed to trust to educate our kids become some of the biggest political players in the country at the exact same time our politics are becoming so extreme that the President of the United States of America is now on a regular schedule of assassination attempts, in essence, while in office? Because that's really where we are today. It may be the inconvenient truth, but it is. The nation's largest teachers' unions, like the National Education Association and the American Federation of Teachers, they know what they're doing. They're pouring more than $1 billion into left-leaning political causes and activism. More than $1 billion. I want you to really think about how much money that is. Now, this isn't small dollar advocacy. This isn't occasional political engagement by the teachers' unions, which teachers should be nonpartisan. They should be teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic, which, by the way, statistically, they're failing this country. And we're at the lowest of nations that we compare ourselves to in reading, writing, and arithmetic. In some categories, when it comes to civilized nations, we are at the bottom of the barrel. And it may be because all of these teachers' unions are hiring, supporting, and advocating to become indoctrination schools instead of actually teaching children in education. And all you have to do is follow the money. When you look at the full-scale political influence that these teachers' unions are involved in, it should honestly be against the law. When you break down where that money's going, the picture becomes even more clear what they believe in. These unions are bankrolling political campaigns, overwhelming for Democrat people running for office, socialists, Marxists, and communists. And it's not just people running for office. They're also funding the most extreme activist groups of the progressive agenda. They're backing ballot initiatives on issues far outside and beyond education. And they're spending heavily on lobbying to influence legislation to protect their indoctrination of our children in this country. I go back to the core point. This isn't about math scores. This isn't about reading levels. It's literally about political indoctrination. And these organizations have become some of the most powerful political machines in this country. They're using their resources that many teachers themselves are required to contribute through dues. And if you don't, that is called collusion, by the way, then you're on the outs with a teachers union. Good luck getting a job or a promotion. These teachers, many of them are forced to give to the teachers unions. Now, this isn't about the classroom anymore at all. They're not even trying to hide it. Think about what's not being funded when $1 billion goes into political activism. The money's not going to fixing our struggling schools. It's not going to reduce class sizes. It's not even going to increase teacher salaries directly or even help students catch up after they missed school and went way behind where they should be after COVID. No. Instead, it's being directed into shaping the political landscape of this country. And that should raise a serious question. When did teachers and the unions stop being about education and start being about ideology? Well, Democrats clearly decided they were going to play the long game. They were going to control the minds of our children at the education levels of elementary school and then middle school and then junior high and then high school. And then they started dumping big money into our universities. This is the game plan. And then you look at what they've accomplished. In politics, 25% of Democrats now believe that political violence is justified and acceptable. Why? When you grow a generation through the education system to be ashamed of this country, to hate America, and to believe that if they're not getting their way and you do not bow down to their beliefs, they can then literally kill you to get rid of you as a roadblock. The rhetoric is getting sharper and the bullets are flying. And the lines, well, they're getting more extreme. The recent polling paints this troubling picture. A significant portion of actual American voters, we're talking about millions of voters, 25% of the Democratic Party say political violence can be justified. Now, just stop for a moment and think about this latest assassination attempt on President Trump. How do we get to the point where millions and millions of Americans, 1 in 4, think that it's okay to kill someone, to hurt someone because they voted for something you disagree with? Now, that's not some fringe entitlement on the internet. That's a real measurable slice of the American population, the American electorate. And no matter your politics, whether you're Republican, a Democrat, an independent, you should be terrified knowing that in the United States of America, 1 out of 4 Democratic voters thinks they can kill you if they don't like what you're saying. Because once people start believing that violence is a legitimate answer, a legitimate political tool, we are no longer just debating ideas. We're entering a new dangerous territory. It's basically a coup whenever you want it. And it's time that we're honest about connecting these dots. It is, in fact, the education system that is breeding a generation to hate this country. And when you have massive financial power from the teachers' unions, that money is now flowing heavily into one side of the political spectrum, and a growing acceptance, at least among some, of extreme tactics, including assassinating a sitting president. So that brings up the big question. What kind of environment has the left created? Because these institutions, they don't just reflect culture, they literally shape it. And that's why Democrats chose years ago to take over our education systems. And they've done it completely. And when organizations tied directly, by the way, to our schools are deeply involved in the radical partisan politics, what happens then? Well, what gets emphasized in the classroom is what they believe. It's how literally the books are written. It's how the issues are framed. It's how the papers are assigned. It's how the discussions are organized. And it's how the next generation then understands America and politics itself. So the message that we all need to understand right now is this. If major institutions are fully engaged in partisan battles with our tax dollars and pouring massive resources into ideological causes, while part of the political base are becoming more accepting of this extreme rhetoric, then what are we actually teaching our kids? What are we teaching them directly? And also, what are we teaching them indirectly? Are we teaching debate? No. What we are teaching is violence. We're teaching literal division. Are we encouraging critical thinking? No. We are enforcing and reinforcing that your political ideology is supreme over all others. There is no grand debate. And if the other side wins, you just kill them. Because kids are watching all of this. They're absorbing everything in the classroom. And then they're forming their own understanding of how the world works, how America works. Now, hopefully, this is a wake-up call for parents. It's why we're seeing in some places in the country, parents are showing up by the thousands at school board meetings across this country. Not because they want to fight with teachers, because now they're demanding answers. They're asking the basic questions we should have been asking years ago. Why is education becoming a political indoctrination? Why are unions spending billions on issues outside of the classroom? And why does it feel like ideology is creeping into spaces that used to be and are supposed to be neutral? These aren't unreasonable questions. They're basic accountability questions. We also know there's some simple truths. Money and power, well, they're one and the same. And when you have both, when they're used for evil, there are real consequences. Money power is either a positive or a negative. And what we're witnessing right now is when the left spends $1 billion on politics, not only they gain hearts and minds and influence, but when they gain that influence, they're now shaping the outcome of what happens next. And when you shape those outcomes demanding that there is political violence, that's exactly what is happening right now. So if you want to know why a guy by the name of Donald Trump got shot at yet again, let's be clear. It is because of what these kids have been indoctrinated to believe. It is because the radical left now has convinced 25% of their own party. And that number actually may be higher. There's some that may have lied to the pollsters, not really wanting to say out loud that they believe in political violence. But to those that laugh about when the president gets shot, saying they wish the shooter would have been better at it. You know, those people you see on social media that hide behind their computer screens. So here we are, a third assassination attempt. Others we don't know about that were foiled before they became actual plans that were actually taken to the president. And a teachers union or unions that are spending more than $1 billion to influence the minds of our children to think and believe that killing someone you disagree with is warranted, is just, is appropriate. That is how we've gotten to where we are today.
Thank you for listening to the 47 Morning Update with Ben Ferguson. Please make sure you hit subscribe wherever you're listening to this podcast right now. And for more in-depth news, also subscribe to the Ben Ferguson Podcast, and we will see you back here tomorrow.